Hey everyone, it's your girl Emily Curl with iHeartRadio, and welcome back to my virtual studio. Today we're joined by two absolute icons. We have Aly and AJ with us. Hi ladies.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Good.
We're good.
You look so cute with your heart t-shirt.
I'm prepared because today
You're in the spirit. I love it.
I love it. You're ready to give advice with us.
or just maybe listen to your advice. All right, now I feel like Valentine's Day, we're going to be having some people your biggest fans send in some love advice questions in honor of Valentine's Day. But I feel like that can also be a polarizing holiday. Do you feel like you typically love Valentine's Day? Do you hate Valentine's Day? What are your feelings around it?
I'm quite indifferent about Valentine's Day because there have been so many Valentine's Days where I'm not with someone and so many where I am. I feel like it's a toss-up. When we're not with someone, I mean, Aly's married now, but in the past when we've been single on Valentine's Day, we just make it a girl's day.
Yeah, I've had a lot of Valentine's Days.
Oh, I love a good Valentine's, yeah.
But I don't know. I like Valentine's Day because it's an excuse for gifts. And I'm somebody that loves giving gifts and also loves receiving gifts, but more so really loves giving gifts. So I'm like, oh, this is another day that I can give a gift. So I'm big into Valentine's Day, and I've already got a little something that is on the way for my husband to open up, which I'm very excited for him to. He doesn't know what it is, so I'm excited. Yeah.
So you love surprises too?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, great. We're going to learn a lot today. And before we dive into the love advice, I also want to just take a step back to talk about music. And I want to personally thank you both for truly saving my 2020, dropping the explicit version of Potential Breakup Song.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
That's sweet.
What made you both want to do this?
Fans were just explosive about that song towards the end of the year. I think with going viral on TikTok and seeing all the videos that were made, it just felt like something that the fans wanted. And a lot of people have said, look, this came out 13 years ago. We're ready for an F-bomb. We're ready for an explicit version. Our fans have been singing a different version on stage now for years, or we have at least. Yeah. And our fans have kind of encouraged that when we're live. So we just decided, all right, let's re-record this song, and it's time, and let's give them a new version.
And now you have some new music coming out, which I want to discuss. Your new single out now, Listen. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Listen is a really special track to AJ and I think, especially given that we had two artists that collaborated on it. Jack Tatum from Wild Nothing kind of gave his special talents with synth and guitar and vocals, as well as Nancy Wilson of Heart. We are longtime collaborators with her, and she's kind of been a mentor of ours for many years. And we just asked her, is there any way that you would be down to, sing some of the choruses with us and lay down some guitar? And she was down, and we were super honored to have both of them on this song. But I don't know, it feels like the perfect song to go into 2021 and the message behind it. And the video is just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like punk rock, and I love it. It fully encapsulates what that song means to AJ and I, which is,
we just want to be heard.
Wanting to be heard, embracing our femininity, and knowing that, okay, maybe things are not completely perfect, but we know how to get out of this situation, and we're strong enough to do that.
Wow. And so powerful too, especially for this year and the last year that we've been through. So incredible timing for that. So we're going to play a game. Like I mentioned, we had a few of your biggest fans send in love advice questions. So we're going to pull up their videos, and we'd love to hear a little bit of your thoughts on their questions. Sound good?
Perfect.
Great. All right. So let's bring in our first fan, Abby.
Hi, I'm Abby, and my question for Aly and AJ is, how the heck does your ex always know the exact moment that you're moving on? And why do they always choose that moment to show back up into your life? Asking for a friend.
A moment of appreciation for Abby's cat, first of all.
I know.
Big time.
Her
Big
cat,
time.
and
love the cat, love the outfit.
Sweater,
I'm into it all.
So cute.
The whole thing. What advice do you have for Abby?
Gosh, yes, she makes a great point. That is so true. I'm thinking back to my days when obviously I was not married, and I do remember always getting over a guy, and then, like she said, in that moment, that's when you get the text or the, hey, thinking about you, or
it's
this
like
song
a
was on the
GPS
radio.
tracker.
You're like, how the F did you know? I don't know what that is. Maybe that's just the universe, maybe testing you to be like, are you still interested? Are you really truly over it?
But it doesn't mean he's the right choice.
No, I don't think that.
I don't take that as the
back
universe saying this is meant to be, because he kind of has slid back into your DMs.
Yeah. And also, who knows what what recon he's done on his end to be like, he knows that maybe you're starting to like follow a new guy or you're messaging comments. And so then he's using that as an opportunity.
Yeah, don't you think guys do keep tabs on that a little bit?
They just don't want to admit that they do. Yeah. Girls do. We all do.
And our friends do. It's a game.
Yeah. But like guys got, they have fake Finstas too. They've got Finstas as well. So I don't know exactly what advice we would give to that exactly, but like, I don't know, take it as you're not alone and it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
And
take it as a grain of salt, not like a gateway to going back.
Yeah.
And set those boundaries. Like, don't let them come back just yet. Like, they have to earn
exactly.
it.
True. Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to our next question. We have Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna, and my love advice question for Aly and AJ is, what advice do you have for anyone that hasn't been in a serious relationship before but wants to know how it feels?
Okay, Anna's adorable.
That's really sweet.
What advice do you have for her?
Well, be patient because you will know how it feels.
Yeah, and don't rush it.
Don't rush it. And when that moment comes, it'll feel amazing. Like sometimes I wish I could rewind time and have that feeling
for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. As opposed to something that is, becomes repetitive depending on how many people you're with. You get that butterfly moment at the beginning of each relationship. So I would say just take your time and know that feeling is wonderful, and there's a lot of great things to anticipate, but it also can come with some hardships, and you should be able to hopefully handle both sides of the coin. Yeah. It's not always going to be
It's not always
perfect.
Yeah, it's not always going to be an ideal breakup or an ideal compromise in that relationship, whatever that may be.
And also don't try to wait for that love at first sight moment, because it might not be that way. It might be a growing love that isn't just an initial punch.
Yeah, it's never quite how you think it's going to be either. Like, you have it envisioned in your mind and you're like, oh wait, it looks a lot different in the real world.
It really does. It really does.
Okay, let's go ahead and bring in our next fan, Brianna.
Hi, Aly and AJ. My name is Brianna, and before I ask my question, I just want to thank you both for being my absolute role models. I admire everything that you do. I listen to your music nonstop, and I want you to know that my life motto is every day is another opportunity to shine. So, just in general, thank you both for being my sanctuary. So, my question is, if you could tell your teenage self anything about love, what would it be? Thank you.
Oh my, why is she so
my
cute?
heart. Well, shout out to Brianna for her precious video.
Yeah.
What would we tell our younger
selves?
I love this question, first of all.
Me too.
Yeah, I do too. I think my younger self was not insecure about dating necessarily, but was just very conservative and very not, I don't know, I was just not the girl to just kind of wing it with a guy. It was very we need to be dating, we need to be serious, I need to know you for the X amount of time before this can happen, or this, is able to go on. I don't know. I was very fixated on that as a kid and as a young girl growing up. And I think that might have taken away some really fun and cool opportunities that I could have experienced. And, maybe I also saved myself some heartbreak, by doing that in the long run. But I don't know. I think that I was wound very tight as a young kid. And maybe part of that was just growing up in the household that I grew up in, or being a kid that worked in industry or whatever. But I think I would just be you can loosen up a little. You're a good kid. You're not going to go off the rails if you date this guy or sleep over at his house.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a few more to get through. Next up, let's go ahead and bring in Mariella.
Hi, Aly and AJ. My name is Mariella, and my question for you is, what is the best way to get over a breakup?
Good question. Fierce eyeliner.
Yeah, great eyeliner. That might honestly help. Best way to get over a breakup. Honestly, I love just talking about it with girlfriends. I feel like girlfriends always make you feel better, even if it's you venting or shit talking about the guy. That just sometimes feels good, and you just need to get that off your system, out of your system. So I feel like having a really deep, intimate talk with close girlfriends that you trust can be really good for a breakup.
Especially this Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know, sometimes you don't, sometimes you just want to be consoled and just have someone listen to you. And that's all you really need. You don't even necessarily need advice on like if you did the right thing, you know, what could have changed, what could have been better. It's like, just listen to me, you know, vent. Sometimes that honestly really helps.
Well, that's the do. This is the don't.
Yeah.
I would say don't rush into like a back burner option right off the bat. Because a lot of people, like, you know, I've been guilty of it. You kind of line someone up and you go, okay, I have an idea of who might be the next person or who I've maybe thought about before. And it's not good to do that. It just rushes things and you haven't had time to heal. And next thing you know, you've started.
Yeah, give yourself like a few months before you jump into the next relationship.
Yeah, great advice. Great advice. Okay, let's bring in our next question we have from Matt.
Hey, this is Matt. My question for Aly and AJ is, when you're feeling trapped by love, what helps you realize or remember that there's always a way out? Thanks.
That's sweet.
I also like that.
Great questions.
I love that it's the guy too.
I love that we had a guy.
Yeah. So what's your advice for Matt?
Remembering that you have a support system, you know, that might consist of a friend, a mentor, a family member.
Yeah.
If it's like a scary relationship that is maybe putting you in danger, you know, there is always a way out, even if it feels really impossible. And I think that, you know, utilizing like hotlines or, you know, therapy as ways to get the best advice of how to do so is really important.
And not letting the other person dominate your feelings. Like whatever you feel is what's accurate for your side. And it doesn't really matter what the other person thinks at that point. It's like, no, if I know I need to get out of this, that's what I need to do to survive.
Right, because a lot of people can kind of manipulate you with their words.
And change your decision.
Twist things.
Yeah.
And that can be really, really hard on your psyche. So I think, just trying to dig deep within yourself to know, okay, is this really the right thing for me? Or does this actually like make me feel less than I am? If it makes you feel less, then it's a no.
And what I've realized as I've gotten older too is that all your feelings are valid. I feel like I used to be like, oh well, maybe it's me.
Right,
you know?
Right.
No, I can feel these things.
That's so true.
That's a good point.
So true. Well, and you think because you're younger that your feelings must not be valid because you haven't been through enough or you don't really understand the feelings that are inside. It's like, no, everything you're feeling is valid no matter what age you are, how long you've been doing this, how long you've been dating. Yeah, it's all valid.
Great advice. Okay, we have two more. Let's go ahead and bring in Melissa.
Hi girls. So my question for you today is, do you think that people can change when they love someone or are falling in love with them?
I do think people are capable of change, for sure.
Yeah.
Or else, you know, we would never be able to rise to the occasion as a society. But I do think that the older we get, the more set in our ways we become. I definitely know that, even just about myself. I think that I'm trying to give a good advice here, not just like my bachelor advice, although I did watch a couple episodes last night.
Funny.
That was
Your
behind.
Surface advice.
Yeah.
Bachelor advice. That's what you watched before today.
Yeah, I know. I'm using it. Just my reserve tank. You know, I do think people are capable of change, but I think that you also have to not put too much stock in that. I think it's more about not expecting somebody to change for you, because that's really hard. And I think that you have probably more control in you changing yourself than you changing someone else.
Yeah, and it's the wrong expectation to have on someone else to feel like, oh, if they change, it means they're invested in this love. Right. Whereas really it's like, yeah, but what's right for them? Like it might not be what's right for you. And to kind of meet in the middle is really tricky. And sometimes you just realize this isn't the relationship for me.
Or no it's like wrong place, wrong time. I think sometimes is a huge factor in things. I think that we all as people could be right for many different partners. Like we could say, this person I could spend the rest of my life with, and this person I could as well. And you might just never meet that person at that specific time and place that brings that, you know, relationship further. So I do think that that's also kind of an interesting idea to think about as well.
Okay, let's do our very last question. We have Yvette.
Hi, my name's Yvette, and my question for Aly and AJ is, what's something that you regret from past relationships? And good or bad, what is something that you learned from that?
Okay, what's your advice for Yvette?
Okay, Yvette, I think the thing I regret from past relationships was being kept in relationships by the guy for no apparent reason and just not knowing how to get out of it, and knowing I really want to end this, but we keep having the same conversation over and over and over again, me trying to break up with you, and you just will not let me break up with you. That is like the absolute worst experience and so annoying to go through. That's happened mainly with one person from my past, and thankfully I got away from his clutches, but you also have to kind of like find that inner strength to just be like, I'm walking away now, I'm hanging up the phone, like we are done.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy. Sometimes you have to come to a conclusion together as a partnership, but some people are just not mature enough to do that, sadly.
Yeah.
So I regret that, because I think I just wasted time being with someone that I shouldn't have been with.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's heavy. For me, and not to say this doesn't work for everyone, but I regret spending a lot of time in long distance relationships. The people, well, there was two, it's specifically one in Canada and one in London, but for me, it's like they were great relationships, but I do think that I could have done a lot more maturing and growing had I been dating someone in Los Angeles that I was seeing on a regular basis.
They're like watching this, they're like, huh.
They're like, oh, interesting. So it was all a waste. But it wasn't a waste, and it taught me a lot. I think the thing is that you end up being in like a vacation mode when it's long distance and back and forth.
That's a really good point.
It just can kind of feel like, oh, I'm now visiting you, you're visiting my territory. You're not really figuring out what life is like together. And I do think that, like, especially this relationship I'm in now has been kind of a kick in the pants as to like, whoa, AJ, this is what it really is like, and what it should be like is like getting to know someone on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And
like
I think for a while I was like worried about that. Like I didn't want to get too close to someone. So instead I chose these long distance things instead.
Ooh, well, how's it been now that like you are like in close quarters with someone? Like, have you learned a lot of stuff about yourself being in a relationship?
I've learned a lot. It's actually great because I feel like this is the first relationship where I'm like, oh, I've really blossomed. Like I'm figuring out who I am as a woman and how I balance my life with a guy. And it's been great. I mean, so far it's been like super positive, but I definitely can see that I've been like my growth a little bit in that area was stunted because I spent so much time with people that, I was hardly seeing.
Wow. Well, let me just say, I feel like you both are so reflective. You can tell. Do you guys have a lot of heart-to-hearts together? I feel like even with my sisters, I'm like, that's where I get a lot of like my knowledge later. I'm like, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we know so much about each other, but yeah, there have been some big heart-to-heart moments.
We've had some good, deep conversations as of the last week. So
yeah,
maybe that's infiltrating this.
We have.
Great timing. Aly and AJ, thank you so much for being here. And thank you to all the fans that submitted such great questions. Very diverse.
I know.
Really questions. Thank you to the fans who asked
every single thing.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was so fun. And thank you to everyone watching. Make sure that you stream all of Aly and AJ's songs on iHeartRadio. And hopefully next time we see you both will be in person at our iHeart Studios. But thank you both so much for being here.
Thanks.
Of course. Thanks for having us, Emily.
Have a good day.
Happy B-Day.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here. And don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. Bye guys.